Hi everyone, this is Jay Harris coming to you from Tom's Trading Room. I have the Part 2 Strategy Insider video coming your way right now. Last we left off, we got to the Strategy Insider page. We chose a stock symbol on 3M and we set it for a back date of March 5th. We looked at the type of strategy that could have been chosen by a high volume or high net worth trader. We looked at the number of contracts on that particular trade to get an idea of the type of size that these high net worth traders are moving. And then we actually forwarded it to the day of expiration to see how that trade panned out. Now the question was, or is 3M the best stock to use? Is it one of the better stocks to use for the Strategy Insider process? And what we can do now is back test the Strategy Insider on a particular stock or on a list of stocks. And that's where we're going to pick up right now. We're going to get to the Strategy Insider page, and again, you do that by going to Searchers, Multi-Strategies, and then left-clicking on Strategy Insider. When you get here, you can change the stock list to whatever you like. We showed you in the first video to do the weekly stock list, but we're going to choose the Dow 30. 3M was in the Dow 30, so let's use a shorter list as well as a list that 3M is in, and compare it to the other stocks in this index. So click on DJ30 to populate that into the window for stock lists. We're going to change the backtest date range for 365 days. We're going to look back a year, and that's the max look back days it can do anyways. We're not going to choose anything else or change anything else, and we're going to left click on search. Now it might take a few more seconds or a couple of more minutes longer than what we did before, because we're now not just looking over a particular stock, we're looking over a batch of those over 365 days rather than just the one day. When you have it on 0, we're just back testing, or we're just searching for trade ideas that big money movers could be trading on this particular date, whereas now we're going through 30 stocks and 365 days worth of them to look at these potential or possible option trade ideas. So it completed for now, and if you see the continue button, you can left click continue and continue the backtest on the rest of the stocks. Right now the list produced 17 of the 30. If you click on continue, it'll go through for its max time of 30 seconds and pull in whatever amount of data at that time. And as long as it says continue, you can left click on that and keep bringing in the rest of the data. Once the continue button goes away, that means the search is complete on the full DJ30 in this instance. So I don't need to do any more. I mean, let's look at this. We've got Cisco and 3M at the top of the list, in which there are 0 losses. Now 3M had just the one trade, the one win. So not that great a data sample. I mean, it worked, but could this be just an anomaly? Could it just be the high net worth trader getting lucky? We want to look at a couple of things. Obviously, win versus loss is an important factor. Also, the robustness of the strategy. What's the average win versus loss? And you can see that over here, 2.3 to 1, 2.4 to 1, 2.5 to 1 on Merck, and 2.5 to 1 down there on Coke. But Merck had just 3M just had the one trade. Cisco has 5 trades. 5 trades were a winner. Let's go ahead and focus on that one. Now, this first initial backtest search was on a list to see which stocks within that list look more favorable than the other. Now, when you have one like Cisco, let's go back up to the top here, click on the stock symbol, and then type in the field CSCO and leave it at 365 days. Now you can go down and take a look that the list shows all of the Apple trades over 365 days and all of the American Express and then all of the Boeing. But rather than going through all of that amount of data, let's just go and search up just Cisco alone. So again, stock symbol, type in the ticker itself, leave 365, left click search. This should be a little bit quicker because we're just doing it on the one symbol, the one stock. We're still only looking at these 4 trade ideas or these trading strategies. And down below here, you still see the 5 of 5 wins versus losses. And you see this table of information. Now we're looking at Cisco, and it shows 10 trades, but there's actually 5 because 2 line items per trade for the spreads that these are setting up. Now at the very bottom here, you have the hyperlinks for the last trade, which was probably the most recent one, on March 19th of this year. If you don't have that luxury and you can't click on the hyperlink, here's what I want you to do, and here's what you should do. Let's take a look at, we can go 5/17. What we're looking at is the leg buy date and the leg sell date. I want to look at the second trade idea, just because. Call calendar spread on Cisco with a start date of August 29th, and then the leg sell date is September 7th, and we'll show you that trade in just a moment. But you can't click on any links here to bring up the trade like you can down below. So here's what you do going forward, is just note the start date, and that's August 29th. So you're going to set the tools back to August 29th of 2018. Click on the calendar icon, click on August of 2018 and the 29th. Now we're still going to use Cisco, but we don't need to go back 365 days. The date of the tools are set back to the buy date, which was August 29th. So let's click on 0, and we're going to search out potential trade ideas for just that day. Click search, and here's the result that you get. Here's that call calendar spread right now. You didn't have the links before, but now that you set it back to the buy date and ran the search appropriately with just the 0 days, you now have the trade. So let's left click on the hyperlink of one of those, and it will bring up the call calendar spread. Take a look at what we're using the Strategy Insider for, as well as to find that unusually high options volume activity compared to the open interest, and that's decisively higher. We're looking at about 1,400 plus contracts on Cisco over its open interest. So again, disregard the odd lots of 61 or 51, and let's change the number of contracts to reflect 1,400 contracts. We're not saying this is definitively the option strategy that this high net worth trader is moving, nor that particular number of option contracts, but we're looking at 1,400 plus. We're going to keep it at 1,400, a round number, and then we're going to click risk graph. And just like before, it's going to update it to the type of size we're talking about now with 1,400 contracts versus 100 or 140. So we're looking at a entry debit of about 64,400. Here's your max risk potential, and we're going to use the mid quotes now, and always use the mid quotes. That's direction straight from John. So using the mid quotes, 64.4 on the entry debit, potential 47.8 on the max profit, and we're going to go down. Here's the chart. Here's the risk graph. On a call calendar spread, it looks like this high net worth traders wanting the stock to stay basically right here or a little bit higher into the point of the risk graph there for max profitability. And because we are back here on August 29th and we have that sell date, that leg sell date, and I'll even move it over, it shows it right there. The sell date was on September 7th, and that stands to reason. Granted, we have an October 48 call bought. We've sold, or this high net worth trader possibly has sold the September 7th 48 calls against that. So the best we can do is go to September 7th and see how this trade's faring at that point in time. So back up to the date box. September 7th it is. And let's see what's happening or happened to this calendar spread for Cisco. Scrolling down, using the mid quotes, we're looking at a profit of $8,400. That's a 12.5% return. And not bad for, about a week to 2 weeks. And again, when you're moving this kind of size, 12.5% is a larger chunk of money. It's still only 12.5% of the money that you put at risk, but nonetheless, you get an idea of the type of size that these guys and gals are moving. And again, looking at the OI, it's increased. The short leg has come down. The bot leg has come down a little bit, but nonetheless, here's the end result of what you're looking at on this particular trade. Now, you can close that down. You can go back up and start all over again, go back to your DJ30 list, find another stock, and start the process all over. But folks, again, that finishes up part 2 of the Strategy Insider. What we're looking at with both of these videos combined is A, you can search up unusually high options activity versus its open interest, and you can look at where the intelligence algorithm that John's created matches up where different strikes have somewhat of the equivalent number of option contracts traded on that day, and that intelligence algorithm and all the rest of the algorithm puts together possible trade ideas that these high net worth traders could be trading. And like I said, it's not 100% guarantee, but it's close, and it's a logical assessment that we're using here. And if you say, hey, this is the type of a trade a high net worth trader could be moving, and this is the type of size that they're moving, I may want to consider doing that myself. So there you go, folks. Any further questions or concerns or follow-up to these, hit us up at support@tomgentile.com. Thanks for your time.